Hi guys, my name is Ashley and I just wanted to take a minute to show you a quick tutorial on how I created fringe on my Tana Cross cardigan from New Horizons Designs. I was inspired by Erin Bradley's cardigan and I pretty much copied hers exactly because I loved it so much. I just thought that the fringe created a really high-end effect on the garment and just made it look like it came from an expensive boutique. So I got the fabric from Serge Fabric Shop and I found the yarn that matched perfectly from Joann's. I used a couple of tools that I already have in my sewing room, so adding the fringe really was an inexpensive way to really up the garment and make it look really expensive. Okay guys, so the first tool that we're going to be using is a seam gauge. You probably already have one of these in your sewing room. This one has a sliding mechanism so that I can line up the previous knot with this black slider right there. I can line up the previous knot there, and then I know to make my current knot right along the zero. The second tool that I'm going to be using is this knit picker from Dritz. You'll probably be able to find this on Amazon or at your local quilt shop. I like this knit picker and I actually use it a lot in sewing. It has this tiny little loop there. I use it mostly for pulling the thread tails back through serger seams because it has this tiny little clip that goes across right there so that the hook doesn't snag on anything whenever you're pulling the thread tails back through. We're going to be doing the same thing today, but with yarn and creating our fringe. So like I said, we're going to be using the seam gauge so that all of our knots are evenly spaced. I'm going to line up the black mark. It's going to be a little bit hard to see because of the dark fabric, but I'm going to line up the dark black line along with the right edge of the knot. So my knots are going to be fairly close together. So I'm going to line it up at the edge of that knot, and then I'm going to take my hook that is open and insert it right there at the edge of the fabric, right along where that zero was. And that's going to go through pretty easily. Now I'm going to take 3 strands of yarn that I have cut to be 12 inches long. I saw a couple of tutorials that had you wrap the yarn around something like a book. I tried to use it around a 12-inch long ruler, and I found that because yarn stretches a little bit, I had to be really careful about how much I was stretching the yarn or leaving it loose, and I found that not all of my threads or not all of my yarn pieces were coming out evenly. So I found that it was easier to just use a rotary cutter and lay the yarn out at 12 inches and cut and just keep doing that over and over and over again. For me, that was an easier way to get more precise measurements for my yarn pieces. So for this fringe, I wanted a nice full fringe along the edge of the yarn, or edge of the sweater, and so I also really liked the longer pieces. So I created my pieces to be 12 inches, which when I fold in half, the completed fringe size will be slightly less than 6 after we make our knot. So once you have your 3 pieces, you're going to line up the edges so that they're all approximately the same length, and then you're going to find the center point. Once you have found that center point, you're going to feed your knit picker through there and pull your threads fairly tight, and then you're going to have to wiggle it through because there are so many pieces of yarn and this fabric is pretty thick. But as you can see, all 3 pieces were able to come through just fine. And by the way, I am inserting the knit picker from the wrong side to the right side and pulling the yarn to the back, okay? So I'm just going to create a small loop, and I have my 3 yarn pieces here in this hand. Again, I'm going to insert this, but this time the knit picker is going to be closed whenever I insert it into the loop, okay? So I'm going to insert it there, and I'm simply going to use this tool now to feed these yarn pieces back through the loop. So I'm just going to wrap it around the yarn, and then I'm going to feed it back through just like that. Once I have it through the knot, I'm just going to pull. And then I'm going to, I originally tried to just pull like this, but I thought that the knot didn't get tight enough. So I go back here and I pull until that's flush with the sweater, and then I pull the knot out this way. You can see that creates a nice secure knot that's not going to come apart. I'll show you with 3 more pieces. I did find sometimes it was really hard to get all 3 pieces of yarn to come through because they were so thick. So when that happened, I would pull the 2 pieces that came through. I would create the little loop on the back side, and then I would put my nit picker very close to the original hole and pull the 3rd piece through. So as you can see, I just have a few more to go, and then my cardigan will be done. I hope that you guys found this tutorial useful, and I hope that you'll tag me whenever you make your own version of a Tana Cross cardigan. You can use sweater knit like I have shown you today, or I think it would be fabulous in a bamboo or a rayon spandex or anything that would be lightweight and perfect for spring. So check out those ideas on Pinterest, and then make sure you tag me whenever you create a fabulous sweater of your own. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Happy sewing!